Director of Competitions here in Northern Ohio. We've been lucky enough to be partners with Tag Marshall for a few years now, and we really enjoy the time we've had together. We've really had some great collaboration in trying to get their products introduced to our professionals. And I, as a ex-golf professional, I'll call myself, I'm from someone from the green grass side, really have enjoyed learning about their platforms and what they can do to enhance your pace of play and your player experiences, as well as your revenues, with all the details that they can go into with their technology. I believe we're going to talk about the impact of their data and how it affected Sugar Ridge and Pebble Creek today. So without further ado, I'm going to do my part and introduce Bodo here to kick off the webinar, and hope everyone has a great time attending.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Matt, for jumping on, and also thanks for your partnership. We really love working with you and the team at the Northern Ohio section. Also, for anyone who's part of the section attending this event, you can get your PDR credits, which is obviously always a bonus, and we're going to make very certain that you learn something today on our session called Enhanced Pace, Player Experiences and Revenue, the Impact of Data and Optimization Technology at Sugar Ridge and Pebble Creek. And it is my pleasure to welcome Denny Mercurio and Jake Schapker, who are both from these two sister courses. Denny, how are you this morning?
I'm doing well.
Pleasure to have you. And Jake, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic.
Okay, amazing. You found your coffee. Probably 3 in already. I believe it's still nice weather and you're still doing lots of golf. So thanks for making some time for us. Let us jump straight in, and I'd welcome Denny to do an introduction to Sugar Ridge, and also how you ended up being the GM at the club, if you don't mind.
Okay. Well, I've been at this for about 22 years now. I was in the corporate world and worked that, and then I actually took an early retirement, started working up at Pebble Creek Golf Course, pro shop manager up there for about 10 years. And when we purchased Sugar Ridge Golf Course, which is in Indiana, I came down here and became the GM. I run the operation down here. And I've been at that for about the last 12 years. So,
and tell us a bit about Sugar Ridge. What do we need to know? What are you known for, and what are you all about in terms of what you're trying to create?
Well, the golf course itself, we are really taking off. It's really going good. We're probably one of the best kept secrets in the area, Southeast Indiana, because there's not a whole lot of golf courses, I would say, all the way to Indianapolis that are as nice as this. I'll just brag about this golf course. We got a lot of character to this golf course, and it's one of these courses that people look forward to playing. We get a lot of people who from Ohio, Kentucky, and Indiana playing here. And we also have some casinos down on the river where we got a lot of travelers come here to play. So it's a pretty busy golf course. It's not as much as Pebble Creek, but we're doing a pretty good job down here as far as getting golfers through here. One of our biggest things as far as the Tag Marshall has been a wonderful thing for us since we got it, because our pace of play has always been a little sketchy because of you got rangers, they're out there doing their thing but not being necessarily assertive enough, where our Tag Marshall has been a great tool for the guys in the pro shop as far as getting the pace of play moving up. And we've done a leaps and bounds this year with our pace of play. So it's really helped out a lot, and taking care of the golf course, because if everyone knows how a public golf course is, it's you got public golfers, and they do a lot of crazy things on a golf course, and we can keep an eye on it this way, which has been very helpful.
Amazing. Thanks, Denny. We're going to talk in detail about how you use the program, and the data, to your point, speaks for itself in terms of your performance on the pace side. And you can never do that well enough, right? That's really what the golfers are asking. Let's switch over to Pebble Creek, and to Jake. Tell us about Pebble Creek, Jake, and also how you ended up getting involved there.
All right, so I was working at Dick's Sporting Goods, and I was uh I was just dating my fiance at the time, and it was my location started closing down, and I was sitting there just talking to her family, it's like saying, hey, my store's closed. I'm thinking about either transferring or just quitting, finding another place. And her father said, "What do you think about working at the golf course?" So here I am working at Pebble Creek and slash Sugar Ridge. My fiance's father's, who owns both places. And Pebble Creek, it's a beautiful course. We've known for the Island Green on 16. It's got a lot of good character as well, and it's more of like a difficult course than the typical public courses that we have around the area. And it's pretty close to a expressway, so a lot of people can hop off and play some golf. So we get a lot of people around the area as well, and that's what's been able to give us a lot of open play golf.
Thanks, thanks, Jake. So you went from managing a Dick's Sporting Goods to managing a busy public course. You do have a member program as well, I believe. And also, you basically have erected a statue for your greenkeeper who looks after both courses and
Yeah.
is really doing a great job. What would we expect to pay for a round on a key time on a Saturday at either of the courses?
So it's around $51 during like the busy morning times on Saturdays, which is pretty competitive. And then during the weekdays it's around 40. So we're really competitive on the pricing, and then we give great value just on the aesthetics of the course. So those two really complement each other. And then with implementing Tag Marshall, it's been able to help us with that pace of play, since we do get so many tee times and golfers that want to play on the course.
Amazing. And you're quite close to one another, right? So do you ever get players playing both courses on a regular basis?
Yeah, so we do have a for like the season pass holders, we do have it where they can purchase it for both. So a lot of times we will have them, play at at Pebble, then go to Sugar later that week. And there is a lot of people that I'll see at both courses, especially like with league play. I've seen a lot of guys go from one place to another, playing in different leagues.
Nice. I know Mike, your owner, he was considering joining our webinar, but he's probably out there looking for a third course to buy right now. So you need that triangle completed. Thank you, Jens. Really appreciate the introduction, and look forward to learning more about how you do things. If you don't mind, just a quick intro on Tag Marshall for those of you who don't know. We have built a golf course optimization system, and we really look after anything that happens on the golf course, tracking all the player movement, tracking machinery, vehicles, marshals, drinks carts, anything that moves on the golf course. As far as we're concerned, what happens out on the golf course is the economic engine of your operation, and you can never know enough about that, and you can never perform well enough when it comes to getting the most out of that, right? So next year will be our 10th anniversary in the industry. Excited about that. And we have tracked about 75 million rounds. Next year, there'll be 100 million, because obviously things are ratcheting up for us quite quickly. and we're now working with just over 600 golf courses. Some of them are really the very best in the world. There's your Pinehursts, your Valhalla, both obviously hosting majors this season, and the bucket list courses, Bandon, all the way over to Pebble Beach and St. Andrews Old Course, the original 470 years old. We actually even tracked the Ladies Open Championship there a few weeks ago. The Ladies Open, the RNA, using our program for tournament management, as does the DP World Tour. So what's exciting for us that a lot of these operators are obviously very well resourced and trying to push the boundaries of what's possible for the operation. And we get to work with them and also learn from them. And then we can take those management principles and those strategies back into our system and then back to the broader market. And I believe, yeah, it's exactly the courses like we have on today where we can make the biggest difference, because you don't have 100 staff members, right? You don't have all the resources. You need to place and box smart and do the right things for your customers. And if technology can help you do that, so that your hair isn't on fire all the time, then technology is doing its job, right? So maybe jumping back to Denny, you mentioned you've been around the block here for two decades. As far as the players are concerned, what do they want from you as an operator? What do they want from a golf course when it comes to some of these experience factors like course design, course conditioning, clubhouse and amenities, pace and flow of play, playing partners, accessibility, tee time availability? Obviously, that's a big theme with so many new golfers joining the game, and ultimately value and cost. Like, if you had to pick three, Denny, what would you say you need to get right as an operator?
Well, our biggest thing that was the pace and the flow of play. I mean, that was huge for us. That was, I would say, probably number one. Value and cost would be right in there. I think we're doing a pretty good job with that. Also, maybe I'm not even sure if the clubhouse and amenity, because we're doing, we do a lot of different things here. This course is a little bit different with our clubhouse. We don't have a full-blown restaurant, but we do have a pretty attractive snack bar. It's outside like a tiki hut, and that thing really gets going in the summertime. People sit around there for hours after they get done playing golf because the atmosphere is fantastic.
Oh, that's great.
But number one, I'd say the pace and flow of play, and then the value and the cost. Would we like to optimize and get more money? Yeah, but again, with that, we're doing a pretty good job by keeping it where we're at. We bump it. We've been bumping it a lot every year, or not a lot, bumping it every year, just trying to get those numbers up where we want those. We're still a great value compared to a lot of the competitors around here, other golf courses. This golf course has got like you talk course design, we got a lot of character to this golf course. Every hole is different, and that's what a lot of the golfers really, really like, is they come out here. We've got a lot of wildlife, and just the aesthetics of the golf course are beautiful. Same as Pebble Creek. I mean, it's a beauty. That course is about the same as far as a lot of character. Every hole's different, and it's nothing repetitious about it. It's a fun course to play. Both of them are.
Yeah, so the design plays a role here for sure. Jake, from your side, and I think that is the island hole that you spoke about earlier at Pebble Creek, right in the background.
Yes,
what would you say are the top three factors?
For me, it's pace of play, the value and cost, and then also the course conditioning. As long as the course is looking great and pretty, and the pace is all right, usually the customers are happy.
Yeah, they will say, give us good greens, right? And make sure that we don't have to wait, and then we'll come back.
Exactly. You got that.
And don't charge us $200. So
Right.
yeah, thanks, gents. It's really, that is also how we get to know you, right? The USGA obviously wanted to ask that question to golfers, and they did a very broad-based survey quizzing about 30,000 golfers. And what floated to the top as a top experience factor, golfers saying, get that right for us, 82% said course conditioning, 76% playing partners, which generally is up to them, right? And then number 3 is pace and flow of play at 74%. So 3/4 of players, which is the majority of your players, want you to pay attention to that. And over and above that, the NGCOA, which is the National Golf Course Owners Association, did a similar test with their owners and operators, and they found that they also consider pace and flow of play a top 3 priority. So you're right on the money when it comes to what you've paid attention to, especially also the season and getting technology involved. Let me just jump into one other a little bit of research here that the USGS conducted with the University of Wisconsin. And the lady here on stage that presented this at the Golf Innovation Symposium is Professor Christina Skunova, and she's the Director of Operations at Erin Hills. Erin Hills obviously hosted the 2017 US Open. They're also a partner of ours. And they found that there's 1,000 touch points in a round of golf. And what they want to understand is what are those experience factors that matter the most? How can we delight players? What sort of floats along as neutral, and what destroys people's day, right? Because we need to know what that is so that we can invest in the right things. And they found that out of 1,000 touch points, and it's really everything is considered here, like what's a meet and greet like? A touch point is driving through the gate. A touch point is there water and refreshments available out on the golf course? All of those things are touch points. But what they found is that the overall worst scores from an experience point of view is other people's speed. If other people are slow, or I think they're slow, that ruins my day. And at the same time, corrective pace of play actions, meaning somebody comes over and grunts at you and says, hey, you're slow, get on with it, right? Players hate that. That ruins their day. So no matter what else you've done, no matter how wonderful your conditioning is, how friendly your clubhouse staff is, how good your grill is, if you don't get those 2 things right, that is all they remember, unfortunately, right? And that is when you'll get that 1-star rating on Google, and it's really hard to dig yourself out of that. On the flip side, positive ranger etiquette is the overall top score, and positive ranger etiquette very often sounds like it's non-confrontational, it's supportive, and it's all about the framing, right? So we can say, hey guys, how's your round going? I notice you're a bit out of position. So I'm not saying you're slow, I'm saying you're out of position. Why don't you help me catch up half a hole, right? Or why don't you help me catch up 5 minutes? And that is something that players can compute, where if we're saying, hey, you're slow, get on with it, that's corrective. And players will always fight to the death and give you 100 reasons why they're not slow and why it's somebody else's fault, right? So that's really interesting from a research outcomes point of view. But let's jump into how do you actually work with technology at Sugar Ridge and Pebble Creek in terms of live and proactive on-course management. Jake, maybe if I can jump in with you here. Tell us a bit about the technology and what it was like also to onboard. And Denny, if you want to jump in, was that an easy thing for you guys to learn and get into? And also, let me just jump ahead one. So this is obviously what we call the two-way screen that the clubs have chosen. What is it like to onboard this and get going with it? And then the next question I'm going to ask you after, who have you got dialed in and who's actually looking at this? But then we're going to look at the live map. So let's start with the onboarding, getting going with it, as far as you recall from not too long ago.
For me, when I went through the trainings and we had a few other people to go through the trainings, they were really helpful and pretty easy to walk through. Just to make sure that we all had a really good understanding of how it worked. I went into a little bit more depth into it than most, since I was the one teaching. Yeah, it was a pretty good experience, and it was pretty easy of getting them on board of it, having it up and seeing what was going on. And we've been really good about using it while there has been some slow pace. And we've been I think pretty nice about it. Like we with our messaging, we used friendly reminder and just trying to promote more of a happier encouragement to it. Probably do need to start using out of position. That was a good idea. We didn't think of that one, but but yeah. And then what was the other question?
Yeah, so this is what you guys see, right? So Tag Marshal, let me just jump back. So we have these front end options that gather data, right? So either you can have a screen in your cart, you can have an invisible tracker in your cart, or we have these walking units like they use at Erin Hills or at Bandon, for instance, or we can track caddies with an app. And those units then feed data onto a live map, and they feed data into a analytics dashboard. And there's obviously many other features, but that's the principles. So from a live map point of view, who have you got dialed into this? Who's looking at it? And what's it like to manage with having line of sight like that?
So, I mean, I know, like, we're talking about the out of position or the slow play thing. So, something I have found out, you send them the nice message out. I mean, we're known for being a friendly golf course here. That's for sure. People even talk about how friendly our staff is. So when you don't want to be abrasive to the golfers, something we find out that when we do say something to, let's say, a foursome out there, it's usually 1 to 2 of the guys in that foursome who are holding things up. The other 2 guys usually are like almost grateful, like, oh, thank you, we'll take care of it, because they know that they're slow. So it's usually it's not really been a negative thing. It's been pretty positive by using the two-way messaging, or even if you have to, you send a ranger out and say, this is where we're at. Ask them to pick it up and catch the group in front or whatever. The golfers are usually pretty receptive to it, and like I say, usually there's 2 of the golfers in that group, maybe even 3, that are concerned about their pace of play, and they're grateful that you say something.
Maybe on to the point of the two-way messaging, we'll talk to that now. But the unit actually tells the golfers where they're at. You can see this pace strip at the bottom here. So they obviously have the yardage and all those good GPS functions, right, but it actually tells them the whole time. So over and above that, you can then send a message that is you can direct at a single cart. Maybe let's go back to a time when you didn't have this, right? So if we turned this off tomorrow and took the screens out, it's quite a different way of operating, right? If you don't have the line of sight and the way to get out.
Yeah, when the system went down last week, for instance, it was down Saturday. My guy in the pro shop, he was blind. He had no idea what was going on out there when we were relying on our rangers to do it, to take care of the pace of play, because, like, again, we can't see anything, and we had a problem Saturday with slow play and complaints from some of the golfers. So, man, it's been really great that we have the pro shop can be monitor everything, and it's just been fantastic. Like I said, our pace of play since we got the system has just been the complaints have went way down, and the rounds of golf timing and all that's been a lot better.
Thanks, Denny, for the feedback. So we actually turned the system off just so you would know what you have in us. No, I'm joking, but we did actually have a server outage that was very concerning for me. Our team worked very hard to get back online, but I did get a lot of messages. Also, some managers saying, "Hey, you know what's so funny? Some of our staff were so skeptical of the technology and said, no, we don't need that. No, we don't want that." And then a couple of months in, it's off for a day, and they're like, "How do you mean we need to go out with pen and paper and radios? Like we used to. We don't want it. We want our system back up and running." So that's how quickly things change. I think maybe just a comment on what you actually see on the live map. We haven't spoken about it, but Jake, maybe I can ask you to do just a quick 1 minute, because for you, this is now second nature. You know exactly what's going on the golf course. But for somebody who doesn't know, talk a little bit maybe to the colors and how you make sense of what's happening out there.
Yeah. So obviously the green is a good pace of play. So we're mainly looking for the magenta color. We've noticed at our course that about a small percentage of the magenta will affect a third of the course if we don't catch it on early. So we're able to, with this with Tag Marshall, we're able to pinpoint who it is and not kind of have a ranger guess who it is and maybe talk to the wrong group, vice versa. We're able to send out a message, encourage pace of play, and then also then have a ranger kind of head over and kind of talk to them and kind of also encourage them. And it's been real good for us to be able to do that just because of and then it is able to get rid of the giant amount of backup that could potentially ruin the entire golf day. So it's been very nice, and it's been fantastic for our golfers and for us, just for staff, just for and making sure that everyone has a great time out there. So yeah, the orange is just going to be the delayed groups that are behind the magenta colors, letting us know that it is a slow day out there, and that it's going to take them longer than the goal time. And then the red is just going to be for guys that are slow play but aren't affecting anybody. So there might be no one around them, behind them, or in front of them, and they're just playing slower golf. Typically, we don't necessarily have to worry about them too much until someone starts creeping up on them, and then we might have to say, hey, please, you're out of position a little bit. Please help out and speed up a little bit.
You picked up on that very quickly there, Jake.
Yeah.
Out of position is the new term now.
Yeah.
So what we from our side, what we wanted to create is a system that's really intuitive, right? So you can immediately see where's the head of the snake, where's the problem, and so we're doing that with colors and also with sizes. So the biggest icon is the biggest issue. And it's really, as Jake said, if you can be accurate around it, you can get on top of it so much quicker, because once a group is out by 15 minutes and they're impacting 5 or 6 groups behind them, you cannot get that time back, right? Damage is done, and it's really hard to untangle. So rather be proactive and be accurate. And also, like we said, the system actually talks to the players automatically. That helps them stay compliant. Because most players don't want to be slow, right? They're just sometimes not aware, or they're sometimes messing around. So what we've created also is a platform that interfaces with other systems. So we have got integrations, and let me just jump back here, with about 20 tee sheets and Golf Genius, Golf Weather. So just to pull in information and make it a very seamless interface. And it's always helpful also if you can personalize a service. If the tee sheet automatically pulls out onto the golf course, and hey, in cut number 9, that's those 2 players, right? Because also later on, and we're going to talk about geofencing in just a minute, for instance, you can then tie that back to players if you need to have a conversation. Also that two-way communication is great when it comes to weather alerts and all sorts of things. And I know one of the things that's helpful, because your players are so enthusiastic, they want to keep playing with torches at night if you let them. Just getting people back to the clubhouse, right? When it's twilight's over and you want your cards back, you just push a button and boom, everyone gets the message. I can imagine that would have been quite difficult to do in the past, and you'd have to spend a lot of time chasing people and getting them back in. And now that's exactly where automation is helpful. Yeah, maybe next question. And we spoke about your greenkeeper being the unsung hero here and making, making his presence felt with the team. Obviously, you need to make sure that he has the tools also to look after the golf course, and one of those tools is geofencing. Maybe one of you wants to talk to a little bit how that works for you, how that's set up, and is the greenkeeper happy with what it does in terms of protecting sensitive areas?
Sorry, say that one more time. We had a
I'm
phone
sorry,
ringing.
my phone went off. I got to turn it.
Oh yeah, I actually heard. Sorry.
on.
So the question was the geofencing. Is the greenkeeper? Are you happy with how it works for you in terms of does it keep the players compliant, and can you keep the turf protected with it?
As far as sure, I mean, our greenskeeper, he does not manage it. Jake does his at Pebble Creek, and I do the one down here at Sugar Ridge. We do manage it, and it's been great. I mean, I'm constantly tweaking a little bit here and there because it's not like cart path things and all that. We're kind of moving the fences a little bit, but we're zeroing in on exactly where it should be, and it's been great. It really has. Trying to get the golfers to comply with the rules of the golf course for the day, and it's been very, very helpful.
Do you have different setups also if it's very wet and you try and keep people on the cart path, and sometimes
Yeah.
not?
Yes, I mean, exactly. I mean, if it's like right now, we're off the cart path, so everything I have on the fence is like around the tees and the greens to keep the people out of those areas. So if it starts, we go cart path only. I turn that system off. I turn the other one on, and it just goes cart path only throughout the whole course.
Mm.
And then if there's any holes, let's say it starts drying up, I can keep some of the holes, I'll manage that and just keep some of the holes cart path only until they dry up, if you know what I'm saying.
Great. Yeah, I think you could never be as quick with signage out on the golf course or roping, right? So it's just touch of a button. And again, automation is helpful. So for those of you who don't know, so it has a visual alert, but it also beeps. You can imagine like a truck reversing, right? So you cannot ignore it. And the players generally, oh yeah, I'm not supposed to be here. Let me back out. One of the things that Denny was talking about, you need to dial it in a little bit, and because obviously, you're drawing these fences next to a green or along a cart path, but we sometimes forget that there's satellites floating up at 12,000 miles height, right? And there 3 of them are triangulating and talking to that little device and establishing its position down to a yard or 2, right? But obviously that happens all day, hundreds of times, thousands of times at your course, and sometimes the satellites, there might be a tree in the way, there might be a cloud cover, whatever it is. Sometimes it's a little bit off, but for the most part, it's actually super accurate, and it's just an absolute miracle, because 25 years ago that only existed for military purposes, right? And now we all make use of it in our daily lives on our phones and so on. It's actually awesome what technology can do there for us. When it comes to revenue generation, obviously we spoke about if you're keeping your golfers happy and making sure that they have a good time out there, you look after them, you've got friendly, informed staff, you're competent around how you manage things, that's all good for your revenue. You spoke about value being important, and $51 for a course with really nice conditioning, good character, nice layout, and then you're presenting it really well with good pace of play. It seems to me like you need to bump up your rates a little bit. And that's value, right? And nobody's ever going to complain. They always want to come and play more. But there's also other ways to generate revenue. Talk to us a little bit about the ads and how that works out for you guys.
Yeah, so the ad part's been working out great. So we were able to contact local businesses around the areas of both courses. And we weren't able to fill it all the holes, unfortunately, but for starting out, this has been really good for us to be able to get another stream of revenue, sponsoring their business, and they'll email me with different ads month for a certain month or vice versa, where I will be able to where I'm able to promote their sales that they're having. And then on the ones that we don't have promotions of other businesses, we'll have our own stuff on there, which can vary or that which helps us out a lot as well. So yeah, we'll do different things promoting snacks and whatnot.
Yeah, I think yeah, you need to remember that you have a lot of power actually, right? I mean, I'm just doing the math here quickly. Yeah, 40,000 rounds of golf times 4 hours. That's yeah, that's a lot of hours that you have available in terms of interactions with the brand, right? That you can make work when you work with local advertisers. So one of the things that we've learned is that with the other many clubs that we work with, it's not always easy to get local advertisers on board. So we've actually got a media division that helps do that, and we fill the ad space for you. And our inventory is now so big across obviously 30 or so states, and a couple of million rounds of hours of engagement annually that we're now getting national advertisers to come on board. And a lot of them are really nice golf brands, right? So if you have any open inventory, you can chat to us and we can then fill that for you and send you a check. So that's one thing that we're excited about building, because and you've probably seen some of those stats. For the first time ever in golf, the 18 to 36-year-old bracket of players is the biggest bracket, right? That's bigger than the 36 to 55, 55 to 70. So golf really gets younger as time progresses, which is great. And there aren't many brands that don't want to speak to your golfers, right? So it's actually a really powerful opportunity. Yeah, we spoke about the data and analytics a little bit. One of the things that over and above the line of sight, which is sort of an immediate benefit, we always try and encourage clubs to start learning about their course from a data point of view. So this is what we call our analytics hub. So here we see that's a single day, but that could also be a month or a week. We can break that down, where we see each and every individual tee time and which of those tee times end of day ended up being problematic, right? There could have been a delay around, or maybe a tail of delayed groups behind them. And we always want to encourage that, yeah, you take a look at that and see where and at what time of day did things go bad and what could we have done better. And then we also want to understand what's the hole by hole runtime, because if there's some holes that going significantly over, maybe there's ways to yeah, adjust pin placement or some like low cost feature adjustments. For instance, we've had a course reduce one of their holes by 5 minutes, just taking out a little tree, right, or a little bush. But you can only know that if you look at the data. So one of the things that we need to remember is that any of these changes are incremental, right? But if you shave 2 minutes off here, 3 minutes off there, 5 minutes off here, 1 minute off there, then incrementally you're improving. And if you're getting better by 1% every week, after 30 weeks, you're 30% better. That's tremendous. So that is how we like to think about it. And it's really great to see that you're bringing through, yeah, an entire busy day here on 78% coming through on pace against your goal time. Yeah, talk to us about this feature, which we call a track map. A track map is basically a history of every round that was ever played at the course. And yeah, and we can then look at what happened, yeah, with the geofence bridges and so on, or with the interactions. How is that useful to you when it comes to management and post-round interactions?
It's been really good. I've used it personally. Actually, for a guy that actually gave us a review. Um, he told us that he sat there on 15's tee box for 30 minutes or whatever, but I was able to figure out his name, what card he was on, and go to the track map to see. And he went from it pinged before he was at the tee box, and then as he hit the fairway, and that was only a 15-minute increment. So that was half of the time that he said he was sitting there waiting at the tee box. And he was actually on pace to finish because he quit after 16, but he was actually on pace to finish before goal time. So I had to explain what, on a busy golf course day, like it's going to take you 4.5 hours if we're busy. Yeah, he was going to be finishing in about 4 hours and 15 minutes. So we were able to kind of gather the data and kind of in a nicely way prove our point that unfortunately this is what this is the data that it shows, and you weren't sitting there for a half hour or where it wasn't ruining your day or whatever.
Yeah, it's interesting that perception becomes reality, right? Especially if somebody who's impatient, and then it feels like it's 5 hours, but in reality, it's not. But it's that person's not angry. They're rating you 1 star. They're having a rant, but it shows competency, right? That you can respond with facts and you stay calm about it. And I would think that also is encouraging for other players who then see that and it's like, well, this is actually an outlier rating, and clearly this course management team know what they're doing. I'm going to trust them and book my round. Over and above that, we also obviously tracked any geofence breaches. So if anyone's been naughty, you can tie that back to their cart and their name. And we have had cart damage being tied to players so that they could be held accountable. We've even had stolen carts recovered with the tracking. So it's definitely helpful to have. It's end of season time soon, and hopefully you've got another a few weeks of decent weather. But our team does that for every course that we work with. They do an end of season report, and we're looking at your prime months. So in this case, it's April through September. And at Pebble Creek, your pace for the season, that's everything you've played, came in at 4:15. And at Sugar Ridge at 3:58. So you sub 4 hours on pace for your whole season, which is amazing, I think. Congrats to you on being on top of it. And we heard how enthusiastic Denny, you spoke about the impact of it. I think this is something you need to advertise and make sure that you put that on your website, because that is a hallmark of like we said earlier, a golf course that really cares about its golfers.
So how would I approach that then? Like what you're saying is put it on our website,
look, you can say we according to our system data, we played the 2024 season in 3 hours 58 minutes. Thanks to all our golfers who helped us make that happen, right? That to me sounds great. If I'm a golfer and I'm making a decision, am I going to play this weekend or not? Am I going to play on Thursday or not? Am I going to play at this course or another? I want to make sure that I don't have a 5-hour round. And this is a nice opportunity, maybe also on your social media, because you can be proud of that. And I'm not sure where you're sitting. We do annual awards where we're benchmarking all of our clubs, and we're looking at what was the performance like, and how have they improved. There might even be an award for you. I should have been informed here. Maybe somebody can shoot me a chat message where the two clubs are sitting here. That's another thing that is good to get out in the local media, right? And these awards, what we like about it is that a Sugar Ridge can have the same rating that might be a Diamond Award as a Bandon Dunes or a Pinehurst, right? So your name floats alongside these amazing golf courses, and ultimately you're getting the same results as far as your data and as far as the benchmarking is concerned. So one thing that's important, or an opportunity if you're looking at the seasonal data, is to really understand what is the runtime in those hourly increments? So here you've got your before 7, 7 to 8, 8 to 9, 9 to 10. And you can see that before 7, Sugar Ridge actually plays in 3 hours and 2 minutes. Between 7 and 8, it plays in 3 hours and 40, more or less, right? And then afternoon, you're around the 4-hour mark, and then it drops down to quick into the later part of the day. So this is also an opportunity that many of our clubs utilize, especially if they're dynamically pricing, right? They really start to talk about that. You can play those first couple of tee times in under 3:45. So if you want to play that quick 18, those are the tee times you want to book. And the stats say that especially under 40-year-old players pay up to 25% more for a quicker round of golf, right? So that gives you the right to charge slightly higher rates. And then you also attract the players that want to play like that. So we've got a lot of clubs that make use of that. And then by default, you're then making your day faster because the first couple of groups out are all quicker players and they actually pay a premium for their privilege, right? So it works both ways. So those are nice things that you should discuss with our customer success team. So most of them are actually PGA members, and they've worn your hat in terms of their managed courses, and they know what it's like. So discuss it with them. I don't know who works with you, might be Jack from our team, and they can actually help you understand that and show you some strategies how you can utilize that to also potentially add another tee time, which is always helpful, right? If you can manage things, control things, and you have a bit more inventory, that's very interesting from a bottom line point of view. Jake, you mentioned this earlier that you're aware that just a handful of players, in this case 1.6%, have an impact on up to 30% of the play out there. That shows you how important it is to get on top of those groups when they start delaying others, right? And you mentioned it earlier, you want to do that quickly and accurately. Do you think that there's an opportunity to do further training also with your team and also use this data to show them, look, here's the work that we have done, but we can be even better? What are your thoughts and plans here for the off season and to start next year on a even better note?
Oh yeah, so definitely there's room for improvement. I would before the season starts, we'd show them the data and say, hey, we did a great job this year, but there's always room for improvement. And explain the results to them about how a percent 1% has affected a third of our play, which has probably caused us to have a little more than who we want to be unhappy with the speed of play. When we look at this on our computer, we need to be quicker to respond and have a better customer service experience towards the golfer when we go out there to talk to them. Just so like if we make sure that they don't get upset to where maybe they play slower or just don't want to listen to us. We can kind of encourage them and give them more of a better experience on that to where they do improve to where we can get out of that funk and that pace of play.
Yeah, and I know exactly what players are like. Somebody might say, "Hey, but we're paying good money to play out here, and if we want to take our time, that's all right." But I mean, your responsibility is towards 200 players, right? Not just those 3 or 4. And if 3 or 4 players are not impacting 40 behind them, that is completely out of ratio in terms of the risk that has to everyone else's experience. So I think you're completely within your rights to control that and tell them they're out of position. So I spoke about those. I spoke about those awards, and it's really according to data, right? So Pebble Creek indeed has won a platinum award from us. So well done. That's in the PGA magazine now this month, if you get that. And Sugar Ridge a gold award. So I think especially for the the improvements that you're making and the data and what it shows. That's amazing to see.
That's
Thanks,
awesome.
Kenan, for sharing that. We'll make sure that you get that as well, so you can share it. And who knows, if you get it out in the local media, that's maybe another couple of people next year and say, hey, I want to go play that course. They know what they're doing. Okay, just to close off, we have just 5 more minutes, and maybe there's a question or two. If anyone has it, please feel free to ask in the chat or the Q&A. We'll try and answer. What's been the player response to the tech? Denny, maybe going back to you, do the players enjoy it? What are they saying? And is it a good thing for them?
Well, as far as the system itself, the players, there's been nothing but positive reviews about it. It's just been fantastic. We have one hole in particular that it's got a blind green. You can't see the green from the fairway, but the golfers know where the people are in front of them, which has been fantastic. They know exactly where the golfers are in front of them, and it's just been nothing but positive from the golfers aspect. They really like it.
Yeah, I think that blind shot is a great feature. You can really see where's the cart ahead, and that also speeds up play, right? So it has a double benefit. One of the things that's an opportunity that you can look at just from a visibility point of view, a lot of our clubs actually put a big screen in the clubhouse that shows what we call our TV page. So that's really, it alternates between what's the goal time. There may be a short a line or two about your pace policy or your goals around it, what's the expected time, and also what's play like out there right now, right? So that is something that also really helps set expectations, and the players immediately know as they check in, hey, there's a system in place, and I don't want to be found out to be slow, so I'm going to pick things up. So it helps with the self-policing. Jake, from your side, obviously you do a lot of player interfacing, and then also you're working with the team a lot that goes and manages the player feedback. Firstly on your pace, but also on what the system does and the yardages, and understanding the course layout a bit better. Is it positive?
Yeah, it's been really positive. We've had a lot of good reviews on how it's been working. Actually, we've been getting a decent amount of good reviews through the review, rating on Tag Marshall, which has been great. Wish some of them would have a little bit more comments on it, but we just get a ton of 5s. So it's been good. We've had a lot of good things from here, or from the customers, and we're just wanting to keep expanding that some more through the next seasons.
Right. I think what Jake's talking about is because obviously we spoke about it, our system knows where it is. So what we can do is at the turn, at the end of the front nine, we can say, how's your round going so far? We're expecting people to rate this well, but the benefit here is somebody's really unhappy, you can then go out there and have a chat and say, hey, how can we make your round better, right? And very often people just want to be heard. And there's an end of round rating too. And again, you can then tie that back to who was that group. If we really messed it up for them, let's be proactive about it before they go and tell 100 people on Google, right? So it's just helpful in terms of feedback immediacy, right? Because you immediately get that back and you get a message so that you would know, hey, these are players that we need to look after, and maybe we need to have a conversation so that they can feel a bit better about the experience. But generally, obviously, and you're doing a great job, things are working really well. I think we've reached the end of our session, and thank you so much for the time. Here's one question. What is the pricing, and is it scalable based on size of course? So the pricing depends on the technology that you're choosing. And then also we have our backend is, we've got a track system, which is your base. And then we've got modular features. Like if you want geofencing, you can add it. If you want food and beverage ordering, you can add that. If you want in-depth analytics, you can add that. So we always try and be competitively priced, but also have an opportunity for you. If you want all the bells and whistles and dig into the system, then obviously you can upgrade that at any time. And our it's, if you work it out on a per round basis, you're probably looking at 20-30 cents a round, right? So the value that the clubs are getting is multiple of that in our experience. We even have multi-course operators that have proven, according to their data, that a club that uses Tag Marshall makes a minimum of $3 more per round. And that is even on a $45 green fee, right? So it's actually significant, the impact that it can have. And that is how we like to think about pricing. It's like, what's the return investment that we can help you generate rather than what's the cost to the golf course. But yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to our team. So we've got Ashley Bryant, who looks after the Ohio and surrounds area, daughter of a former LPGA pro player, and David Hamilton is our VP of Business Development. He's in Charleston and also Augusta, and has just had his garden ruined by the latest hurricane. Sorry, David, we're still feeling for you. And Joey is, I don't know if he's been on site with you guys. If he has been, you wouldn't forget him, and he's probably eaten all your burgers. He's a wonderful guy who really gets things done for our customers, our GM down in Atlanta. Gents, any last thoughts for your colleagues and peers out in the section?
Yeah.
No, we're good.
Awesome. Thank you for your time. Really appreciate it. And Matt, also thanks for the intro and sticking around. I hope that you've learned a thing or two here. And we look forward to another good season with you all next year. And hopefully if you're coming down to the PGA show, come and find us. We'd love to catch up and maybe grab a drink with you. Thank you, gents.
Yeah,
really
definitely. Thanks for having us on.
Thank you, guys.